Now looking at explicit ways of supporting Indigenous students in their learning and achievement, as well as classroom engagement, we'll look at the classroom level as well as the whole school level. In the classroom level, we focus on developing strong relationships and establishing high expectations for attendance and achievement. When we're developing strong relationships with our students, we need to be a learner ourselves, and we can achieve this by getting to know the students, learning their language, and taking an authentic interest in their culture. This can happen by listening to our students, hearing their stories, and respecting their cultural beliefs. Being honest is also another important factor in developing a strong relationship. When we're being honest, we're also being truthful with our students, and students as a general respect that. This leads on to our expectations. So in establishing high expectations, one strategy is to formulate class expectations collaboratively. So you'd be working directly with the students, getting them to come up with expectations of what they should be achieving, what they should be doing in class, how they should be behaving. And this is often used with a build-up strategy, building up with positive acknowledgement of successes. Intrinsic motivators balanced with extrinsic motivators is also another factor which Chris Sarah highlights to improve student attendance and student achievement. Some intrinsic motivators include getting the student to recognise their achievement themselves, and extrinsic motivators can include a reward system approach. Looking now at the whole school level, we've used the Close the Gap program and involving Indigenous community members in the school as our two focus strategies. This has come from the Australian Council of Governments and the Department of Education and Training with regard to the Action Plan for Rural and Remote Education. The Closing the Gap program aligns directly with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Education Action Plan. The action plan of this agenda is to halve the gap in literacy and numeracy achievement by 2018. NAPLAN is a significant indicator of the outcomes here, where the Ministerial Council on Education, Employment, Training and Youth Affairs states that NAPLAN tests will show that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students are at or above the minimum standard for writing and numeracy. Within this knowledge, the teachers really need to draw upon a meaningful pedagogy to connect with and ultimately help to raise that level of achievement in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander education, especially when considering the stigma around Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander achievement in literacy and numeracy skills. This brings us to the 8 Ways Learning Framework, which is an excellent resource to support the learning needs of Indigenous students. The framework is interconnected in nature so that learning can ebb and flow based on the student's engagement. It helps to connect the formal westernised learning with Aboriginal culture by directly looking at learning that is connected to them as people through their stories and connected to their land and their language. The What Works framework further discusses the importance of working systematically with Aboriginal students, understanding that these students need cultural recognition, development of their skills in literacy and numeracy, and adequate levels of participation. These 3 aspects are directly influenced by the contexts of the student, the community, and the school. Therefore, it is imperative that we as teachers form partnerships to support these aspects in the best ways possible. Some of these have been detailed in the McRae et al. 2000 report, What Works? Explorations in Improving Outcomes for Indigenous Students. These can be accessed below this video. Finally, we look at involving respectful members of the Aboriginal community within our schools. This aims to provide students with role models of positive behaviour and positive attitudes, as supported by Chris Sarah and the What Works framework. Together, these highlight the value of involving Indigenous members of the community. They state that more often Indigenous members of the community want more than anything to contribute to their children's learning. And a statement from the Indigenous consultant of ACT. It is important that teachers start with individual students, not with the collective cultural group. The child should not be stereotyped. And this leaves us with a reminder of the importance of looking at our students as individual people who are connected on a journey of learning rather than a blank slate that needs to be filled with knowledge. Thank you for listening.